Hello everybody and welcome back. You know who it is, it's Creative Redundancy back again, also known as CR. Now you could spell that with a C dot R C dot R dot like I usually do it when I leave comments and stuff like that. Or with small case or uppercase, whatever works. Not picky about that part of it. Now, by the title, you could tell this is a video about finding solutions to problems, generally speaking, and finding ideas for one's channel, generally speaking. Now, related to like survival ideas, topics, maybe even the gaming channels if you're into that. Now, again, I'll say this now and again, and I'll probably say this a lot of the time. No expert in survivalism, bushcrafting, or preparedness. It's just that guy that creates a better future today and just trying to learn more and put that knowledge, skill, experience into something constructive. Hence why I'm known as Creative Redundancy, also known as CR. Now, I'll whip out the side chat here. Now this live stream will mostly be audio again, because it's actually the information that matters more. No one needs to see me, and I'm not showing anything specific, and it's not actually creation mode. Although I'm in creation mode 98.6% of the time. I am human after all, right? And of course I gotta eat, sleep, and do that other stuff too, so that's why it's 98.6% of the time. So let me whip up the side chat like I said. And of course, like I said, in the chat, grab that thinking cap and let's discover some more. So let's whip out my intro here. Like usual. And let's enlighten, gain some ideas, get that light bulb moment going for everyone here. Just let me lock my preview on OBS here before I forget. So, of course, you could tell by the title, Finding Solution or Ideas Chit Chat. For me, CR. So, now I'm gonna bring up stuff like problem solving and stuff like that. Got the side chat open. So, solutions or ideas, right? Now, problems are a day-to-day thing. Sometimes they're small, sometimes they're a little bit more major, sometimes they're simple, and sometimes they're extremely complex with lots and lots of variables and stuff like that. But there's one key thing to always remember about finding solutions to problems. Now, I'm generally speaking, I'll try to incorporate some examples here and there as I can, like I said, and try to relate it to beyond survivalism, beyond preparedness, and I'll try to, relate it more beyond that. One key thing to remember about problems is, and you might have heard this from time to time, maybe from our channels, people and such, uh, elders and stuff like that. One key thing about problem solving is, or finding solutions for something, is to break it down. Break down the problem into smaller chunks, maybe even more smaller, manageable type of chunks. So, for example, I'll use preparedness as part of a analogy, if I can even say it straight. Let's say you were building some sort of emergency backpack, an e-kit, an e-bag of sorts. You find it too daunting. Oh, it's such a big thing to start doing. Well, break it down into smaller sections. Break it down into smaller bits. Maybe you're breaking it down to categories like, you know, shelter, cover, clothing, fire, light, heat, water, food, safety and security, and orientation, communication, and transportation. I mean, that's how I break it down. Start with that. No, start with one first. Maybe start with a fire kit. Or start with the shelter elements like clothing. Maybe something as simple as like a tarp or, you know, a blanket, space blanket, mylar blanket, reflective blanket, whatever you want to call it. Garbage bag. With the water, maybe it's break it down even more where it's just, okay, let's start with having a bottle of water, for example. And slowly, you know, upgrading it later to like a water filter and, you know, water purification and etc. etc. You know, with the food, maybe you're breaking it down, trying to find a solution for it where you start off with like a fishing kit, for example. Now, let's say you're trying to find a solution such as organization, for example. Well, if you're trying to find a specific solution for something, maybe do some research, right? Do your own research and embrace and consider our resource materials such as our channels. I know for me, sometimes some of these ideas I have, you know, maybe, you know, some of these ideas and such, maybe not original per se, but maybe you're adapting them, for lack of a better term, from our people or our channels. Now, you know, if you're taking an idea from another channel, you know, try to be like, hey, this is an original idea. I found this, you know, idea from XYZ channel. You know, you saying, I'm not taking credit for it. It's not original and such. I mean, sometimes a lot of the ideas, I'll say straight up, it's not original, but I'm adapting it to this, and you know, um, showing it for you guys, for example, right, to your viewers. So let's come up with a hypothetical problem right here. Let's see what we can do with that. So let's say it's a problem with someone stealing something, for example, right? You know, everyone can relate to that to a certain degree. Most people in a lifetime will have something stolen from them. You know, it happens. People have stolen from me, you know, whether or not it was someone I knew or whatever, or a stranger or whatever, you know, whatever, right? It doesn't matter. But you're trying to find a solution for that problem, because you don't want that happening again, for example. So you're trying to find solutions for it, and of course, solutions that can work. And hopefully, these solutions are more permanent solutions, not just, you know, temporary fixes. So you're not just putting a bandage on it, a band-aid on it, or taping it up per se. So you're trying to find more solid solutions for the problem you have. So maybe you're considering, for example, putting up a security camera or a notice that says watchdog or you are being recorded or something like that. You know, something that might help. Whether or not the solution works or not, you know, it's up to the it depends on the problem and, you know, and stuff like that. There's a lot of variables. Maybe you're thinking outside the box a little. Like, sometimes, you know, solutions or ideas are more outside the box kind of thinking. Or you're adapting something from something else. You're something you've seen maybe on YouTube, for example, online. Maybe an idea that someone else had. Maybe not totally related to the problem you're having, but you're like, oh, hey, this XYZ idea might work for my problem. You know, keep your mind open for solutions or ideas. You know, don't shut them out yet, because you never know. Sometimes those crazy ideas or solutions just might work in your situation or in that one case. Because until you try it out, you never know when it will work. I mean, for me, sometimes it's like that where I'm just like trying to organize something and I'm like, oh, what's not work for this? You know, you're trying to figure it out, and then randomly you find a solution or you get inspiration, right? You get that light bulb moment, that epiphany, that sudden realization, and you're just like, oh yeah, this will work. And you start building upon that idea, and you're just like, this is not work, this is not work, and it's working quite nicely. So, for example, again, if you're trying to organize something, right, and your preparations, your preps, right, maybe some food storage, I don't know, or try to organize your backpack that you have. If you're a camper, maybe you like to take hikes and stuff like that, where you have a day pack full of stuff. You're trying to organize it. You're trying to get better at it. Well, not better at it, but like where you can deploy the stuff easily, so it's more organized and feels like if you need this or that, you can grab it out fast. Right? Where you're breaking down the idea of. So, for example, you're trying to get everything in your bag, for example, like a day hike, and just like, you know the basics. You're just like, okay, first aid's probably gonna be important, just in case, I sprain my ankle or whatever, right? And you're thinking, how can I make it work for this bag? And I'm like, well, how can you make it work for your bag? And you're thinking, you're thinking of it in your head, writing it down, using some sort of word association type of thing where you're drawing a word down and associating words with it to, like, what's that called? To open your mind to some ideas, to consider things and stuff like that. Where you're like, okay, I want this first aid kit to do this and that. I want it to be easy to deploy, easy to use, and stuff like that. Where you're just like, oh, wait a second, I got this one case over here, I didn't think of putting it in there. You start to using it, or maybe it's a pouch or something, and you're just like, yeah, this can work. This could start working. You start organizing it a little bit, and feel like, okay, this can work, this can help me with that problem if that arises, and I can quickly get out that, triangular bandage if I twisted an ankle or something like that, or a wrap or something like that. So just give me a second, I'm just gonna have a sip of my drink here. So now I'll relate to finding solutions to like the gaming world. For example, now anyone that's a gamer out there, there's always gonna be that challenge. Beating the last boss, or getting to that checkpoint where you think you've tried everything. Well, maybe you tried that thing that you thought of a while back. It'll never work. Because sometimes it's that one thing that you never tried or didn't think it would work that actually works. Because sometimes, like I said, sometimes until you try something, you never know if it will work or not. And you do your own test and stuff like that and try it out. For whatever, right? You're just like, hey, in gaming terms, if I jump over here and jump to the side and try and come over to behind the boss, maybe that'll work. Or you try that kind of idea of, well, okay, the head-on approach didn't work, maybe I'll do this hit and run type of approach on it, where it might work, right? I know for me, sometimes these ideas, maybe for some people it feels like they can't come up with an idea. Or they're like, I know some people say to me, oh, I'm not as creative as you, CR. You're just so creative, your ideas and stuff like that. I mean, a lot of the ideas I have may not be original. A lot of ideas nowadays aren't really original, they're rehash or repurposed from something else. I know a lot of ideas nowadays are probably not original per se, they're rehash and stuff like that, including myself. It's very rare nowadays to have an idea that's totally original. Unless you're inventing something new or whatever, right? So I'm not. Hey! It's Glenn and Maureen. Hello! With Cabin Life with Glenn and Maureen. Hello, good morning. Oh, it actually is morning. I should have read it first. So again, like I said, this is mostly an audio live stream because it's the information that's more important, and not seeing me, and I'm not showing anything. Because it's kind of hard to show solutions or show an idea. Sometimes they're more words until you put it into practice, right? Hopefully you're doing alright, Maureen. Thank you for taking the time to drop in. I appreciate it very much so. So much so that I'm gonna say hello with a big smiley face of free. Why? I don't know. Hopefully you're doing alright. So where was I here? Oh yeah. So yeah, basically I'm talking about finding solutions to problems and ideas for one's channel, generally speaking. So, and ideas about for one's channel. Now, I'll just throw ideas out, for lack of a better term. So let's related to food. There's a lot of those food channels, and that like to cook and stuff like that. You know, I used to cook and do all that stuff too, and make stuff like that, right? You know, I'm not really big in it, but sometimes, you know, when you're looking for a new recipe or whatever, maybe try something different. Maybe instead of making I don't know, a meatball with beef, I don't know, maybe you make a meatball with pork. Does it work? I don't know. Never tried it. But sometimes you'd be surprised until you try it. Sometimes you wouldn't know. Yeah, sometimes these ideas don't pan out. Yeah, that's a given. Sometimes these ideas I try, I'm like, oh, well, that didn't work as I predicted or planned. And sometimes you'd be like, wow, why didn't I think of this before? You know, that kind of feeling, or that epiphany feeling. That's a good feeling. It feels like you're making progress, and you're like, oh, I just per se discovered something for myself, something new that I can try. Or maybe you're trying rice, for example, as a dish in a different way. I mean, I've tried that before. For example, again, I've I've made rice pink before, purple, using natural foods to make color in it. And I've made it for my friend's kid before. They thought that was the coolest thing. They're like, "How'd you make purple rice?" I'm like, "The berries." Yeah, obviously it was a little sweeter, but I spiced it up a little bit, add some green vegetables. Maybe I think it was like I forgot what the meat product that I put in for the protein, but you know it was different for them, and they enjoyed it, and they're full, and that's what matters, right? And I'm like, okay, and that was the first time I tried that just because that's what I had on hand. I'm like, oh, okay, maybe even winging it. Well, not winging it, but like improvising and just using what you have to get what you need in this case. Yes, I'm having a good morning too, Marie. It's actually raining, so let's smoke out here, out west here. Yes, good topic, finding solutions. Thank you very much. Yeah, because the thing is, everybody, doesn't matter who you are, will, and especially as you get older, problems arise. Like in school, maybe there's only a set solution because you're dealing with something more like math or science where there's maybe only one or two solutions. But sometimes in life, there could be potentially more than one solution. And let's say the perceived solution that normally most people would think of doesn't work for your situation because of whatever reason. I'm trying to think of an example, but I can't right now. But you're just like, oh, it's not gonna work. I can't use this. Like, I can't use duct tape to fix this because it's uh, to me in the presence of heat or an open flame. Where you're thinking, oh, what can I use then? Then you try to think outside the box a little, so to speak, and be like, okay, maybe I can't use tape. Let's try this metal wire instead. It'll handle the heat. And you're thinking of characteristics like that, and you're like, okay, something like that, and you apply that, and you're like, hey, this can work, for example. I mean, I remember this one time, I had a friend trying to, fix up a van, for example, and he, like, how, like, the hood of a car, well, I guess the van in this case, well, he broke the latch on it. And I was just like thinking on my, oh, wait a sec, I got a solution for it. He's like, yeah, you got one? I'm like, yeah, I was just thinking from previous experience. I'm like, yeah. I saw some wire, used wire, put the Arbor Canadian Jam on in there. It worked. It was a solution, maybe a temporary solution, but it did work at that time. And, just cinched it down and it kept the hood closed. So it would actually stay shut while the vehicle's in operation, yet you could still open the hood if you had to do something now or later on. I was just like, yeah, for example. So let's see, another thing here is, about finding solutions, embrace or consider information or ideas from other channels. I've like taken a look at some other channels, like the organization or crafting channels. I've gotten lots of ideas from which I've applied into the survivalism preparedness realm of things. So, for example, I've mentioned this time and time again. I think I might have shown it. I know I've shown the idea in my pocket supplemental survival kit, but and something I didn't, I knew about it for the longest time, but I'm like, I should have applied this idea a long time ago, but sometimes you wish you applied these ideas beforehand. You're like, well, at least I'm playing it now. At least I'm playing it now and using it now. But there was this idea I think on the crafting channels or the organizational type of channels, something like that, where basically they would take a box that has a lid. Let's say, for example, like a chocolate type of box, with chocolates inside. Everyone's familiar with something like that, you know. For like reference, I'll use like pot of gold, that kind of box, for example. Now, one thing I learned that is if you want to make an organizer, you can actually take the lid, for example, of a box like a chocolate box, and basically take the corners of the box and invert it so it's in the center. So you would divide the box into quarters and put where the corners used to be on the outside into the center of it. And use something like tape or let's see, staples, for example, or something similar to that to keep it together. And voila, you have an organizer within that box now that's sectioned off into quarters. Now you can revise that even more, or change it, or change it a bit, or you adjusting it so it's not just evenly for equal quarters or corners. Yeah, quarters, but maybe one side has a little bit less and the other side has a little bit more, depending on what you want to put into it. And I've started to apply that for a lot of different things, where I'm starting to use boxes to help me organize smaller compartments or smaller areas, if that all makes sense. And of course, you'll see more of that now because I've started to apply that for a lot of different things, from like a tool chest to a tin to like these Plano boxes or snap boxes, snap containers, snap clear containers, or maybe those snap containers you might get at like the dollar store or whatever. And I realized, I'm like, oh yeah, this is a great idea. I wish I should have did this a long time ago. Because for me, I found it was way more organized, easy to take stuff out, or made things more accessible. So if I took out one thing, not everything just falls over. And it was easier to, like, if I had like a fire kit to take out a lighter, be able to put it back. And not everything falls over. So it was saving me time too. I'm like, okay, I can see this. And then I started applying it to other things. And I started to apply it to a lot more things lately. And I'm like, yeah, that's such an awesome idea. So sometimes, you know, ideas can come from anywhere nowadays. You know, don't limit yourself to certain things. Because sometimes, like I said, you can get ideas from our channels, other people, and stuff like that. No, try to give them some credit. And I mean, I'm giving credit to these crafting organization channels. Like, I didn't come up with the box organizer, cardboard box organizer thing. No, they did, or whoever did, right? It's probably even an older idea than what they were showing. And probably not even the original. It's probably existed for the longest of times. But I'm like, huh, you know, yeah, this can work. Yeah. Yes, exactly. Literally thinking outside the box. But yeah, coming back to the box idea, it's just like I started adapting it to tins and stuff like that. Like now everyone's familiar with like a tool chest. So if you can picture a tool chest, usually you'll see like some insert on the inside, like a caddy or something. I've even applied this kind of using boxes to organize or make sub-organizers within something like that. I'm like, oh, this is awesome. Because now everything has its set space, especially if it's like, like if you're putting like, I don't know, like say cutting tools, knife or whatever, right? Now it's a little bit more organized. I can pull one thing out, easily put it back. Not everything just falls over. It's not too cluttery. There's some organization to it. And I feel like, for me anyways, then I can find stuff easier. I mean, I'm not the most organized person in the world, but, you know, some of these ideas are helping a bit. You know, I took it, or let's say, for example, again, everyone's familiar with these plastic compartment drawers that you might get at like, uh, you know, somewhere like Walmart or whatever, right? For example, you know, these 3-bin, 5-bin, mini plastic bin compartments and stuff like that, where it's a big compartment, but the compartment within it isn't really organized. The box, in the box, or using boxes to organize the space, it actually does help. And I've started using it a lot more, and I found it very, very useful because it helps you to subdivide the space. Now, depending what you want to put inside, you know, you customize it to what you want to put into it, which is nice too, because with a box or using boxes to organize or to help sub-organize the space, you can make it however big or small a room that you want. So let's say it's hypothetically speaking, a 2 by 2 by 2 foot high space. You can have you can customize it to whatever you want depending on what you want to put inside. So it could be like, hey, I'm gonna have it 1 foot high, 1 foot wide, and 1 foot long, for example, and have 4 of those in there, and voila, now you have a 4 compartment thing with some height to it, where you can put certain little things, whatever it is, right? Maybe it's cosmetics or something like that, right? And you're just like, okay, maybe this could work, maybe this could work, maybe this could work. Sorry about that. I had to take care of something real quick there. That's why it was muted. So yes, I've started to apply that and stuff like that. Now you can do that with like these little tiny, even for example again, these little plastic snap bins that may even have an organizer within them that's subdivided already. You can still apply this kind of cardboard box organizer thing in there. You just make it into you match it to the size or the space within it, so you can subdivide the space even more. So, so you can have like, hey, I can have screws on this side, I can have nails on this side. It keeps it separate. Stuff like that. So I'm using that as an example because I found that to be very, very useful. And I'm not sure it as it's one of those. And, you're reusing a box too, right? So it's not just getting thrown out. Yeah, you can recycle it, but, reusing something is usually better. Especially if you're using it for a purpose. Besides just burning. or for a fire starter. I mean, that's a totally different topic, which I won't get into. Now, in a similar fashion, let's say it's something round, where a square box isn't gonna fit into a round compartment, right? Well, you could adapt that idea as the cardboard box, just use something round instead. Or maybe you're using in a round area, let's say it's a round tin, maybe as big as like a pillar type of candle, for example, right? Well, maybe you're using a lid from, let's say, like some sort of aerosol spray of some sort. I'm trying to pick up an example, like spray paint, like a spray paint lid. If anyone's familiar with something like that, maybe you're using that to help you organize the compartment of the cylinder tin. And maybe if you're really lucky, you find something that'll fit on top of that to divide that space, so you have access to the top and bottom. So you just have to pull out a few things from the top. Or for example, you have a tin that's cylinder in shape, about the size of a pillar candle, right? 30, 50-hour candle, or whatever, right? And then, it's got that lid on the top. You're using, let's say, like a spray paint lid, or, that has that color, that shows the color, right? And you find something like, let's say, a plastic lid from something else, and it fits it perfectly. Or, you're that lucky. Well, you could take two of those and divide that space in half, and it's gonna be really easy. You just have to pull out that one compartment, and you have access to the compartment on the bottom, for example. I've never actually done that per se, but it should be possible as long as you can find the right shape, sizes, and stuff like that. So obviously it depends on what you have. So there's a few ideas. Or let's say maybe you're not even using cardboard. Maybe you're a little bit better at like a little bit more crafty per se. You have access to wood. Maybe you're making a sub-organizer with wood, with thin pieces of wood that are just nailed with like really short nails, for example. That's an option too. And it will give you and not only are you making the space more organized, it's easier to use because, like I said, it's easier to access every part of the space versus because Like, for example, in a bin, like those 5-compartment, 3-compartment bins, clear bins, and such, it's very hard at times, depending on what you have inside, to access the stuff in the back of it and at the bottom. Because usually you have to take stuff from the top or from the front out. It's just a natural, it's just an eventuality, right? Where using some sort of organizer to subdivide the space or whatever might help. Or you could still kind of access some of the stuff in the back or on the bottom just by removing one organizer from the top. And that's a bin, square rectangle shape or whatever. So that's just an option. So some things I keep in mind. I mean, another thing about some of these ideas is, you know, they're transferable at times, some of these ideas. So I'll probably go for another 10 minutes, give or take. Because obviously this is just mostly audio, like I said. But like I said, it's the information that's more important. Now I'll give another idea out here, which is similar to like what I've been saying about the organizers. Like you could be, and I've actually started to apply this to some of the backpacks I have. But now I've shown reusing binders before on the channel. If I can't remember if I actually said it on that video, probably not. But you could use something like that to help subdivide an area out, especially if it fits inside. It can help you divide the space in half. And like everyone's familiar with a binder, right? If you use the front cover of a binder, you cut it in half, you cut it off, you know, that's the seam, along the seam part, fits inside a bin, backpack, or whatever. Because it's just one-sided, standing up, you have some flexibility on the sides of the compartments, so it can adjust a little depending on what you want to put in. I mean, like, that's always an idea. You know, it can work. I've used it a few times here and there, so that's another idea. You know, is it original? No. Did I come up with it? No. I just applied it. Tried it out. Seems to be working. I'm like, well, okay. If it works, that doesn't change it. At least not yet, anyways. So let's see. Just to summarize in the last 5 minutes here, give or take, you know, you can find inspiration, solutions, or ideas from anywhere. You know, maybe you can't apply that solution. I mean, not that solution, but that idea right away. You know, it doesn't clue in right away. Maybe it's not like, you know, hey, I can use this idea right now. Yeah, maybe not, but keep it in mind, because just because you can't use that solution or idea right away doesn't mean a problem won't exist later where you could apply it. So using previous solutions or previous ideas to help you with your current dilemma or current problem, where you need to find something, a solution, right? I mean, sometimes I'm like that too, where I'm just like, okay, I got this problem where I gotta organize a space, and I'm like, okay, hey, the box and box method of organization might help, for example, or making a sub-organizer might help, for example. You know, and consider virtually any idea or solution might work, Just try it out. If it doesn't work, then it doesn't work that time. But until you try it out, you know, you never know, right? So, within this last 4 minutes here, I think I'll go to the 50-minute mark here. I don't want this terribly long. So thank you for everyone that dropped by and that's been supporting the channel. I appreciate the support very much. All that channel support that you guys are providing. You know, no matter how small it is. Maybe you only watch one video. Hey, better than no video. You watch 1 minute. Better than no minutes. Alright? But a lot of the times, a lot of little things can add up, make a bigger difference, or a bunch of 1 minutes all add up to a lot of an hour. And hours can add up to days, and days can add up to weeks, and weeks will add up to, you know, etc., and so forth and so forth, right? So I guess I'll probably end this right here because that's the way I want to do it. So, like always, as the world changes, so must oneself to reach a new level of skill and knowledge. One must practice. To reach a new level of skill and knowledge, like I said, one must practice. One person can't help everyone in this world, but one person can help someone in this world. And until the next video for me, it's peace out from the guy that's 98% of the time in creation mode. Oh yeah, that guy named CR. Yeah, CR, right? See? Ooh, ooh. Blink, blink. I'll catch you all next time. Take care, enjoy the day, and remember, consider those ideas. Consider those, because they might work later on. They might not work right away, but they could work later on for you. They might help with some of those solutions or ideas might work for a problem or an issue you have later down the road. So don't discourage them, not discourage them, but don't count them out yet. Remember them, keep them in the back of your mind, because it might just help you. Alright guys, until the next video, peace out from CR.